people cleaning tables in Las Vegas and serving coffee are going to decide our presidency. But that's democracy, you know.
That's America.
It's Andrew Jackson's party,
yeah.
And so it's okay. And so we're going to have the Culinary Union. They were going to endorse. They were going to endorse Obama, but now they're thinking it over because he got beat by 3 percentage points, and they may not. So that may determine who wins the Nevada caucuses.
We may have live cameras inside their union debate.
Right, but the next step is for a primary that the Democratic Party is recognizing is January 26th.
Right.
It's South Carolina.
That's John Edwards' big do or die moment.
Well, he's forget it. Don't put your money on John Edwards. He's not even going to finish second there.
Really?
Oh no.
Okay.
So what we have is a very large African American vote, and Congressman Claiborne, Clyburn, I should say, who was the House Majority Whip and a very powerful figure, has not endorsed anybody, and he said he would be surprised if Obama doesn't win.
Yeah.
So I think Obama is going to win South Carolina.
He needs to win South Carolina.
He needs to, and so that means that he will have a little momentum going into these races on February 5th.
Right. Which used to be called Super Tuesday, and now it's called Super Duper Tuesday.
Or Tsunami Tuesday.
Tsunami Tuesday. Okay, I'm behind the curve.
Yeah. So it'll be very interesting, and obviously you can't campaign and you can't do the manipulations that in California that you could in New Hampshire or Iowa.
Right.
So it's going to be who has the momentum, who has the big support, and it's going to be very interesting. And I don't know who's going to get nominated. I would, if you put a gun on my head and I had a bet, I'd bet on Clinton. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Obama nominated.
You've covered so many campaigns and you've seen so many races and so many challengers, but couldn't you say that Obama maybe needed this reality check on the Clintons that happened to him in New Hampshire?
Who needs what?
Obama, that he needed this reality check.
He needed it?
Yeah. I mean, if he...
Yeah, well, I have a column that I've just finished writing for tomorrow's paper that in the last says that he should, it should be something that he realizes he's not running against Dick and Jane.
Unless that's the name of the next Terminator movie.
Yeah. No, I think it is a good thing for us. As I said a moment before, when he made a condescending statement about the president saying that he was a fairy tale, and he said, "Oh, the president is frustrated," you know. But never be condescending toward the Clintons, because they are. They
have their ways.
They will cut your ear off.
Well, but that's the game, isn't it? That is the game. I mean, you got to be ready to play it.
That's right.
And they're beyond varsity, Hall of Fame, right? You say in your book also that I forget, you said that with the possible exception of Kennedy and Reagan, no president had entered the Oval Office with a warm feeling toward me, but I perceived unmatched hostility from the Clinton White House. I assume that hasn't changed.
No. Well, the Clinton White House went 8 years, but what's
to this day, I'm assuming it.
What's interesting? No, they don't like me, but the Bush doesn't like me either, and so I'm not in a popularity contest, and as long as I have people in the White House or associated with the White House who talk to me, whether they like me or not, I don't really care.
It's really not about that, is it?
Yeah, but if they talk to me, I'm happy.
Would it kind of ruin your day if people started liking you?
No, it's just irrelevant.
It's irrelevant.
As long as my wife and children like me, and they like me most of the time, but my grandchildren like me all the time.
Okay. So let's get back. Yeah, that is important. Let's get back to being nasty then.
Okay.
Who's over? Who's rest in peace at this point? Is Thompson over? Is
yeah. I mean,
Huckabee over?
let's say who's not over. There's really only there's 5 candidates. There's on the Democratic side, it's Hillary and Obama, and on the Republican side, it's McCain, Romney, and barely Giuliani.
And barely Giuliani.
Barely Giuliani. Giuliani has to do something that's
Stupid move to not go to Iowa or New Hampshire?
Probably it was. I thought he had a shot in New Hampshire. I don't think he ever had much of a shot in Iowa, but he still has a remote possibility. He's got to do very well in Florida, but I think the direction, the polls are in the wrong way. I don't see him. I don't see it happening with him. But I'll say he's barely alive.
Do you think maybe then he just didn't really want it?
Oh no, he wants
Well,
it.
then why such a
He's
bizarre
he's
move?
a very stubborn, nasty little fellow. He really is. He's a person who doesn't take advice. He doesn't like to be briefed. He is, he's a real authoritarian person. And once you're in office, that's not all bad for particularly if you're mayor of the city of New York.
I was going to say for running a city like New York.
But I think it's not good qualities for a candidate.
Maybe the country's in need of a president who does take a broad base of advice. You think?
Well, I don't. I think possibly. The candidate who I agree with who I really feel, I've always said you should vote for people who you agree with. And the person I really agree with on all the issues is Ron Paul. And,
oh my!
See,
Speaking of rest in peace.
but see, it defies my whole theory because I can't bring myself to vote for him for president because he's just.
Are you still a registered Democrat?
No, I just changed party registration a month ago to Republican.
First you changed your religion, then you changed your party.
Well, I changed the party registration about 10 years ago to Democratic. I'd been a Republican all my life, but I wanted to vote for Marion Barry, so I changed to Democratic. And I've been Democrat all these years because there was no reason to change it. The registration, I voted for. I was one of the 9% who vote for Republican presidential candidates in the District of Columbia.
So
but I've changed my registration back because I'm voting in the primary. I haven't made up my mind. I'm one of the undecided voters in the
So
in
they
the,
could
in the
they
DC
could try
primary.
to woo you here in the city where our votes mean nothing.
That's right.
Right. Well, surprise never an independent, or do you think that's meaningless?
I'm just not. The whole thing of being an independent is kind of a wishy-washy thing.
A man without a country.
Yeah, my father was a Republican, and I just always automatically voted in Republican primaries from the time I first started voting.
And among Republicans, who was the best Republican?
Oh, by far, Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan.
He was the only president that I thought, in my 50 years in Washington, as I say in the book, that I thought was a success, that I would give a passing grade to. And I liked him pretty well too. I like John F. Kennedy too, but
you say something interesting about Reagan. Not just that you said that he was far more devious and clever than people realized.
Absolutely, and also one thing was very interesting is that he didn't really worry much about palace politics, which most of these presidents do. Who was going to be chief of staff and who was going to who was fighting who. He didn't worry about that. He had bigger fish to fry. He wanted to win the Cold War, restore the economy, lift American morale, and do things like in the big picture. And he didn't care who was his chief of staff. And he thought the people in the White House that he cared most about, and that most presidents don't even pay attention to, were the speechwriters. He thought the speechwriters, and I agree with him. I think they were the most important. They are the most important because most of those decisions that are made, they're like, like the sand. They blow away. But what people say, that lives on for a long time.
And not all presidents have the same quality of speechwriters. He had a particularly good stable